journalist was talking about Senna. Essentially, they reprinted the obituary 10 years after his death. And the language that this journalist used reminded James of what his dad used to say, about this guy was just different, there was something special, he had an aura. And that's when it clicked and he thought, maybe there's a movie here, maybe I should try and see if I can make a film. And James's background is making features, dramas. But this would be his first idea to try and make a documentary. He felt, you know, if you've got a great character like Senna, you shouldn't have an actor playing him, you should just try and get Senna to play Senna, you know. He approached a company called Working Title Films, who are a pretty big production company in Europe, one of the biggest, who are more known for things like Fordings and a Funeral and Notting Hill and United 93 and movies like that. He and Coen Brothers films, actually. So they've never made a documentary, you know, so it's very different to what they've done. But Eric Fellner, who's the chairman, is a big racing guy, big fan. So he said, okay, let's try and see what we can do. The executive there, one of the executives at Working Title, by chance said to James, you've got to meet my husband. He's the biggest Senna fan in the world. And that's Manish Pandey, who's the writer and the exec producer on the film. Never made a film before, this is his first movie. He's a surgeon, actually. So when he wasn't operating, he was watching Senna drive, I guess. And so he and James flew to Brazil to meet the family, to meet Senna's family to get permission to make the film. Many filmmakers in the past had tried to make dramas about Senna, and for one reason or another they didn't happen, or the family didn't really like what they were, because maybe some of them wanted to make films just about Imola, just that final kind of first weekend. And James and Manish were very specific to say this is going to be a film which hopefully the plan was to celebrate Senna's life, really. And because it was a documentary, there were no actors playing him, he's going to play himself, it's going to be his own voice we hear. The family gave them permission. They then went to meet a guy called Bernie Eccleston, who owns, some of you may have heard of this man. He owns the footage. He owns the commercial rights to the sport. That's how he's made his billions. He controls the sport, okay? Now, Bernie's not a very simple guy to even come near, talk about meat, but James and managed to get a meeting with him. Bernie walked in, didn't sit down, heard the 3-minute pitch, said, okay, give us all the money you've got, and I'll see what I can do. End of the meeting, and that's a good meeting with Bernie, man. So that's what they did. They went away and got as much money as they could, and the contracts then took another 2 years with everybody. And in the end, James and Manish were able to get a deal to get 40 minutes of footage. 40 minutes of footage. Anything within the confines of a Formula 1 track, Bernie owns. Okay, any race footage, behind-the-scenes footage, qualifying, any of that, he owns everything. So they managed to get a deal for 40 minutes, which is unprecedented. No one's ever had this access before, and no one's ever had access to his actual personal archive before. So that was a real first. They then hired a director, looked at lots of documentary directors. Thank God they were all busy, or I don't know what, but they then asked me out of desperation, and I've never made a doc before. Where were you when Hannah? Okay, so then they came to me, and I'd just come off a really tough film in the Arctic. I was shooting this really very, very mentally and physically tough film, and so when I got this idea of chance to make a film about a sportsman, I love sport. I was into sport long before I was probably into cinema. In fact, I know I was. Also, the chance to make a film about Senna, who I remember him racing, and I remember that era with Prost, and I remember the accidents. I was watching Imola live, but I'm in no way an authority in Formula 1. Before I started the film, I never read a book about him. I wasn't someone that could give you lots of facts and details. But I thought it was an amazing opportunity. So we started on the film together, and I had this first cut. I had about 7 or 8 months where we were still waiting for the money to come through, so I couldn't hire an editor. So I had 7 or 8 months in an edit suite on my own, just with material we were finding on YouTube or off the shelf that, from the tapes that Manish had at home. And the first cut was 7 hours. And then we cut it down to a really tight 5 hours, which we screened at the cinema actually in London, and which was I thought was quite good. Maybe a tad long, but because you had to bring lunch and everything. So, but I thought, you know what? It's all there. This is the thing. We have a good problem. The problem is there's too much stuff. And that's always a better problem to have than the alternative on a movie. So, and we have a great character. We have this amazing man who's the centre of the film. So then from 5 we went to 3 to 2, and eventually we managed to cut it down to 100 minutes. But the original deal was still just for 40 minutes from Bernie. So we had this thing where, bit by bit, the plan was really to get all of the producers and all of the finances to agree this is the way to make a film. Because conventionally, documentaries have interviews, talking heads. When We Were Kings has interviews, and Man on Wire, and Touching the Void, all these films, you have somebody now telling you what's going on. And I just felt we shouldn't be doing that. We should just stay in the moment, stay in the present, and treat it almost like a fiction film. And so that, just the fact that it's unusual makes it a bit more complicated to get it going, get it together. But everyone agreed we had to do it, so we had to go back to Bernie and renegotiate the deal. And I think he came out of a meeting with Vladimir Putin or someone, and didn't sit down again. And we said, we need more. We need 80 minutes, not 40. And by now, I think the word had spread around the Formula One community. They all know each other, they all talk to each other. And one of Bernie's good friends is Professor Sid Watkins, who, luckily enough, manages a surgeon now. This helps, because Professor Sid Watkins is a neurosurgeon, and they got along really well. And Professor Sid Watkins really liked us, and maybe he put in a word. But anyway, Bernie said yes. So let us have 80 minutes of footage, which is why you see the film that you see now. And the other thing worth mentioning is, as I said at the beginning, we had no chance of releasing the film in the US. It was always going to be Brazil, Japan, the UK, a few other European territories, but no one cares here. So we in a way that was good because we had no pressure making the film, but once we completed it, we really wanted the film to come out here because we do think there is an audience here. And we do know there's a lot of Brits, there's a lot of Europeans, a lot of Latinos, a lot of Brazilians, and a lot of people who like motorsport, and particularly Formula One. So we took the film to Sundance, and we showed it there. We didn't have any money behind us at that time, we didn't have any PR or publicity or anything, we just put the film, and luckily we got into competition. And using Twitter and Facebook, we just let people know the film was showing. And the word started to spread, and the film sold out. 1 screening, 2 screenings, 6 screenings sold out, quicker than any of the other films, which is amazing, and he ended up winning the audience prize at Sundance, and so that was fantastic, thank you. So, that was the beginning, really, of the journey to bring the film here in the US, because it won at Sundance, which is a pretty big deal. It then had a really great reception in Austin at South by Southwest. We then showed it at the LA Film Festival a few months ago and won the audience prize there as well. And that's when everyone thought, you know what, there is a movie here that people want to see, and which brings us to this weekend, the opening weekend. We've been showing a film in New York. Manish and John Bisignano have been in New York doing Q&As and presenting the film, and I've been out here. I have to say, it's made more money in LA than New York. So. We're all on the same team, of course, but you know how Formula One, you have 2 drivers, where it's a bit like that, New York v LA, so we're miles away right now, which is good. And that's where we are. So from us, thanking you, basically, to say, you've made it happen, and you've turned up, and we've been selling out, and it's been amazing, so thank you very much.